Hi there. I'm Dr. Berg. I'm a professor of computing science and mathematics at the Lenore University at the SAP University Alliance, and also the author of several books on SAP HANA. Today we're going to do a demo, and you get to see live a Business Explorer running on top of HANA with over 1.2 billion records in here. So let's take a peek. So first of all, bringing up Explorer, and I'm actually accessing up here the University of Wisconsin, and I'm sitting in North Carolina. So the stuff I'm going to be doing today will actually be on Wi-Fi. So we'll be a little bit slower, but still pretty decent performance. So first I will log on to Business Explorer, and I'm going to bring up my data set. So it's making a trip on Wi-Fi up to Wisconsin at the university. And first of all, what you see here is I got loaded some data, some test data for me. So I got about there's the 1.2 billion rows you see up here. It took 4 seconds to go through that. But what really happened? It went to the HANA database, and I'm accessing this in the HANA table in an analytical view, and it took one of my students I'm teaching at the university, it took them probably 3-4 days to put this together. So it's pretty straightforward. In this case, we have 5 years of data. So the query grouped it by year, it grouped it by month, it grouped it by currency, by country, by customer name, by product name. So actually run pretty complicated group by queries behind the scenes here, and still was able to access the 1.2 billion records in 4 seconds. Now let's say I want to do some analytica here. I want to go in and hit 2011, and I was only interested in 2011. What you see now is, first of all, that the filter has been applied for 2011, and I filtered down to 232 million records. This is physically impossible in a relational database. Working with a HANA system, it's all in memory, so we can do things like this that are accelerated. Let's say I'm interested in my customers, but only the German customers. So I'm going to filter down to 2011, my German customers, and I don't want to see that year. What I'll be doing instead here, I'm interested in grouping it by customer name. So give me my top customers. And here we have my top customers in Germany for 2011. I'm also interested in now in taking a peek at the revenue instead of the number of sales. So now the query has to go back to the database, summarize everything up again, and as you see here, it's running extremely fast, and most of this is basically processing time data transfer, and I'm looking at about 130 million records. I can also go into visualize, and when I go to visualize, I take this real estate down here and maximize it. So let's see. So I click on visualize, and I get my graphs up here. And I'm going to be interested in a little bit more. I want to see my top 20 customers. So again, I have to make a trip to the database to get the result set. And as you will see here, it goes extremely fast. Doesn't look like we have very many customers in Germany here. I could also go in, let's turn off Germany then, and take a peek at the others. So here we have a little bit more top 20 customers in the world. And I can go in here and do some basic analysis, like finding out the relative proportion of these customers. And you see Bavaria Bikes is by far my biggest one in relative proportion. And of course, as you click on these, it then shows you the light up. Philly Bikes is down here, and Red Bike is out here. We can also go in and take it in proportional charts like this. And you get the cursor, and it tells you 11% of our sales coming from that company. So there's a lot of graphic. I can also go back and actually see the actual records. Now, this wouldn't make much sense to keep going page after page, because I do have 232 million records. So this is a very large setup. So let's go back and split it up again. So the key thing to take away from this is, this is not Flash. It doesn't run in Flash. So this is instantly, it could be deployed into an iPad or an Amazon, or if you want to work with like an Android or a Samsung, you pretty much have everything available to you if you want to play around with this. And there's really nothing to go wrong here. We're operating at sub-second speeds and a few seconds because of this millions and millions of records. And the work I did to build this was very straightforward. So when we go into Manage Spaces, you would see the HANA sitting up here as part of our spaces. And what we have done is we have attached to a HANA system, loaded it up using data services, and with the data services we have pushed the data in. This could of course be real time with SLT, or it could be using DXC or other load methods in here. But in this case we just loaded using data services. Then we created tables, we created attribute views for master data, and analytical views that's pretty much like a star schema. And inside that star schema we added our calculations. Once we go through that, it just shows up here as a source. You see HANA Appliances, University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee. And we then go in building our views here, all sorts of views. This is a very common setup for students to build. And then this is the view we've been accessing. So you can see here, that's the demo system we've been accessing today, and it's been fairly straightforward. Now, the complexity of building something like this, it took a student on one day to build tables, one day to load tables, and then the last day they build the information space. So this is about a 1 week work for people who really know what they're doing. But it's pretty cool. And the main thing why we get the speed performance here, it's all in memory processing. And you see the speed again, 1.4 seconds to access 90 million rows out of 1.2 billion. So I think we've seen that enough. Now, as we go through this is just your imagination of how far you want to go. If you want to roll out BI self-service, if you want to make these sort of tools available to people at a high scale, you simply have to apply an in-memory platform. And of course, I'm a little biased here. What I've seen there and what we're building and what I demoed today, this is no longer in the vision space and in kind of PowerPoint world. This is something we actually do for a living. So anyway, hope to see you out in one of the conferences. Next week I will be at Vegas at the BI boot camps, and I'll be teaching BobJ for 3-day hands-on workshop. So I hope to see you there. Thanks.